Yo, what is going on, guys? We are back today for a very interesting video. So the whole rebalance program team at Kabam right now is under fire by the community for their latest decision to change Spider-Woman Jessica Drew. So the short version of it is that she was given an original attribute rating of 3.5 as a defender, and essentially she's outperforming that. She's performing as a stronger defender. So Kabam said, we don't like that. She's overperforming where we had initially wanted her to be as a defender, so we're going to change her. Which, so far, okay, that's fair enough. But their goal and solution to nerfing her defensively, changing her, is to completely reach into her kit and just completely remove Ensnare. Just completely gut her kit, completely remove Ensnare from her defensively, here's the kicker, and offensively. Because that is somehow the best solution to adjusting Spider-Woman with the goals in mind of making her not as crazy of a defender. That's got to be the best solution, right? Well, the community doesn't seem to think so. Neither does this guy. And that is why so many of us are upset. But, personally, me and the whole balance program go way back. And I've had, quote-unquote beef with them for a while. Never anything personally, but it's just on the level that there's certain champions that I think should and need to be changed in certain ways. And Kabam seems to think completely differently. I think we don't have the same... We don't think of balance the same. I don't even think we have the same definition of what balance is. Well, I googled balance in game terms. What comes up? In game terms, balance is the ongoing process of adjusting gameplay elements to ensure a fair, engaging, and enjoyable experience for players. This is my definition of game balance. Kabam's definition is completely different. Especially this last part here. Enjoyable experience for players. Yeah, Kabam's kind of missing out on that one. Especially when we talk about, the #1 champion on the list that should have been rebalanced. Especially this is a big one. But yeah, man. So just different definitions, different dictionaries when it comes to the term balance, apparently. But yeah, this whole Spider-Woman kind of sparked the idea for this video. So we're going to be going way back. And so at the number 5 spot, we actually have a tie. Now, this tie is 2 champions, that I really think and really hope that they had gotten rebalanced. I really think they should have in one shape or another. Now, before we get into the list, I just want to say, just because a champion I say should be rebalanced, I'm not saying to reach into their kit and gut them. I am not Kabam. I am not them. I think very, very differently from them. When I think of changing a champion, it's smaller things, much smaller things, not just completely removing stuff from kits offensively and defensively. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm not saying to nerf or buff champions into oblivion here. Okay? Just small tweaks or changes because I think they're warranted. So at the number 5 spot, we have a tie, the only tie in the video, I promise. But the reason they're both here is because I really thought that both these champions were going to get rebalanced. Truthfully and genuinely, I thought that they would. My gut said that they would. My gut said, if I'm in charge of balance at Kabam, these champions are too powerful and I would do something. But Kabam did nothing. So at the number 5 spot, first up, we have a champion that's not even a 7-star. And if a champion is not existing as a 7-star today, and they were a part of the rebalance program of past, that's probably a good indicator that they should have been rebalanced in some way. Not always, but pretty good indicator if you ask me. So, Hulkling. Now, okay, before people bring out the pitchforks, relax. I love Hulkling, okay? Alright. How and where I would change him is primarily on defense. So, I got some things to pull up here. So, the whole thing with Spider-Woman was her attributes. So we're going to be using the whole attributes as part of my arguments in some cases here. So if we pull up Hulkling, he's a 3. on the defender strength. That is cap. That is cap, bro. If you don't have a counter to Hulkling, good luck. Good freaking luck, man. He will just keep on regenning. He will keep going indestructible. Even if you have a counter, you know, you need to have a good counter, because a counter, you know, you're going to nullify his indestructible, and that's going to turn it to a passive effect. Like, I don't care what anyone in the community or at Kabam says, Hulkling is not a 3 out of 5 defender strength. Okay, he's not. I use this guy in his prime probably more than any other champion in Battlegrounds, man. Like, I would always draft him, always use him all the time. So good, and he was always such a good dual threat, you know. So I really thought Hulkling was too much. Like, I remember fighting him and thinking, like, man, this is a little too much. He needs to be toned down defensively. And what happened? All in all, we're happy with where Hulkling has landed, and we'll be leaving him as is. Then why isn't he a 7-star, Kabam? I wonder. Haha, gotcha there. But, yeah. Again, I love Hulkling. I'm not saying, like, to completely nerf him into the ground. I just think he's a little much to defensively. Especially with that indestructible buff. Starts getting, like, paused and those type of shenanigans. And passive pause. It's just a lot. The regen's a lot. It's a lot. Alright? So, like, I'm not really mad that Hulkling didn't get changed. I just think there should have been a little bit. Because, again, he's overperforming the attributes. That's exactly what I thought with Hulkling. Kabam's entire justification for nerfing Spider-Woman is the justification I had years ago when it came to Hulkling. And guess what? Kabam didn't do anything. They didn't do a damn thing. But now Spider-Woman needs to get nerfed? Like, it don't make sense. It don't make sense. That's a big reason why I'm making this video. Alright. Tied at the number 5 spot, though, with Hulkling. This one, my opinion has definitely changed on, and that's Photon. But I still wanted to throw this on here to discuss a little bit, because, like, when I used to really hate Photon, man. I had so much, I'm sure some of you guys remember, I had so much beef with Photon, bro. She was perma-banned for months until her rebalancing came around, because I was like, okay, I'm going to keep banning her until she gets nerfed. You know, and then her rebalancing came around, and what happened? Oh yeah, that's right. Nothing. Photon will be staying as is. Now, why do I think Photon should have got changed? Teeny bit. Again, I'm not saying nerf her into the ground, but she should have been changed just a little teeny bit. Well, because Photon is so crazy, dude. For two big reasons that are not fair. They are just simply not fair to the player. You know, if you're gonna pull out one of these in a champion kit, like, okay. But if you're gonna put both of them, it's like, really? And what I'm talking about is turning off masteries. So Photon can turn off 2 masteries, 2 big masteries. The first one that's not the biggest of deals is willpower. So Photon has a ton of debuffs in her kit. You know, so you don't want the opponent just healing from willpower, you know, and making her not as big of a defensive threat. So you give her the ability to just turn off willpower, which is ridiculous. You know, like at most it should be. I feel like it should be her own debuffs can turn off willpower, but it's not. It's just if the opponent has the willpower mastery active, it is removed. Like, what? Like, who gives Photon the right to do that? How is that fair? That's okay, but Spider-Woman can't have ensnare on attack? Like, again, if it was when Photon's debuffs are active on the defender, it disables their willpower mastery. Like, okay, that's reasonable, but just willpower is turned off? Like, what? Like, I could be having the recoil masteries from suicides, start of the fight, and I won't heal from willpower because of this ability, even if I haven't even touched Photon yet. Like, I don't like that. But okay, that's still not even that major. But she turns off dexterity, you know, with her special attacks if she's in her pure light. that's a little much. That's a little much. So, you know, I really just wanted Photon changed in some way. She never got changed at all. As far as what I would change, I don't know. The thing I just mentioned, I think alone would be at least a good enough change. That, you know, it has to be her debuffs applied for her to turn off willpower. But, like, just that alone, I would be more happy. Like, just a small change like that, dude, goes a long way. In my eyes. Like, that's what Bullseye got. You know, Bullseye, it was a small change that when you dex his basic attacks, he doesn't just deal damage to you because you avoided the attack. You know, that's only for special attacks now. Like, that was a small change, but a very, very good change. So yeah, I still just want to throw Photon in here, mainly because I really thought she was, and really hoped she was going to get rebalanced when that whole time was coming around. But again, that's why they're at number 5. You know, this is as low on the list as you can get. So it's not that crazy. Now we're getting into number 4. Okay, now things are getting a little bit crazier. So at number 4, we just have a defender, and that is Enchantress. Because, you know, Kabam said themselves right here that overall, we believe this is an important update in our ongoing efforts to prevent too many strong defenders from being introduced too quickly across the game. Yeah, but then you make a champion like Enchantress, bro, and, like, Like, Enchantress's kit on its own is already so crazy and so bad enough, and, like, you can just get totally screwed by RNG. Her miss, I believe, is a 30% chance, and you can just keep missing and missing and missing, and it's just, oh my god, it's so dumb. But, you know, like, the thing on top of everything, like, if this one thing, not even in her kit, was changed, she would have been immediately better and more balanced. And so what was that one thing, and what was changed when it came to Enchantress's rebalancing? Well, not a damn thing. No changes for Enchantress. Here's her attributes, by the way. She is a 5 out of 5 defender. But, you know, what about when a champion is more than a 5 out of 5 defender? You know, there is no extra little thingies here. There should be. There should be another one in red right here. At least one more. I would say Enchantress is a 6 out of 5 defender. Absolutely. 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 I'm going to say it another time. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Enchantress has absolutely killed me a few times in war. Probably a few more times than I would care to admit. Because she's just so crazy. And again, the one change I was alluding to, the one change, not even in her kit would matter. Nothing here needs to be changed. Just adjust her AI to not throw the special one into block, or at least reduce the chance of it happening. Like, literally, change that one thing, and she immediately becomes maybe a 5 out of 5 defender instead of a 6 out of 5 defender. Like, that's genuinely what's making her a 6 out of 5 defender, is her AI. I'm not even kidding. She'll just throw the special one. You literally be on the other side of the map, holding block for 10 seconds, and then she throws the special one, and there's literally nothing you can do about it. Doesn't matter if you're me, doesn't matter if you're MSD. If the AI decides to throw that special, Enchantress will, and she can. And, you know, that's fun fact, that's actually another thing about Spider-Woman. Again, if they just changed that on Spider-Woman, added a thing in here saying that she'd be less likely to throw her special one into a blocked opponent, that would immediately be a reasonable enough nerf. That would immediately drop her by, like, at least a 0.5 from wherever she's performing as a defender right now. If you lowered her ability to throw the special one in block, that would immediately bring her down by a 0.5 of a rating. Immediately. I don't care where you have her rated as a defender. You remove that ability or lower that chance of that happening, you immediately cut out 0.5 of her defender strength just with that alone. Just with that alone. And that has literally no bearing ever at all on the offensive side of things, because you're playing your champion, not the AI. So it literally could never even be misconstrued into nerfing her on attack. So yeah, and that's just like one thing. There are so many other things that could be changed with Enchantress. Like Enchantress forces you to intercept. She literally forces intercepts. Just in a vanilla matchup, no nodes. Like, that's insane. For me, like, I'm very good at intercepting, but even still, at some instances, I'm fighting Enchantress, she's just not going for my intercepts. All of a sudden, she's at over 1 bar of power. And now, if I try to intercept, she's just going to throw the special. And then I take damage. And it's like, well, yeah, she's a Mystic champion. She's going to gain power from Mystic Dispersion. And, oh yeah, she has another fun little thing in her kit that if you try to, like, power drain her, she gains power back. Like, it is so much. It's so much. And the champ that you build to counter her, you nerf? You don't nerf the champion that's the problem. You nerf the champion that's the solution to the problem that you created? Like, what? Kabam! What are you doing, man? It doesn't get more kabammed, scammed than that. Like, what? What? Dog? Like, the dog is lying. So that's Enchantress. And she's only at number 4, bro. It gets so much worse. So this next one might honestly be a little controversial. You might think Enchantress should have been higher. And if you think that, fair play. You're totally welcome to think that. You might even be right. But coming in at the number 3 spot, bro, we have Destroyer. We got Destroyer, man. Shout out to Destroyer. Respect for Destroyer, man. So let me pull up his balance post. Is a bit of an infamous one. And spoiler alert, we'll be coming back to it. But yeah, dude, Destroyer. Overall, we are happy with where the Destroyer has landed and will not be making any changes. So, you know, let's go do something fun. And before we do something fun, let me ask you a question. In your experience playing this game, who would you say is a better defender? Destroyer or Spider-Woman? Now, if someone asked me that question, I think I would go with Spider-Woman. Okay? But, you know, let me also ask you something. Which of these champions was built to be a defender? And for that, I would say Destroyer. Okay, well, let's see what Kabam gave Destroyer for his attributes, right? Oh, that's funny. They gave him a 4 out of 5. Huh. Well, isn't that higher than Spider-Woman? Isn't that higher than Hulkling? Isn't that higher than Lumatrix? Oh, yeah. It is. And yet, all these other defenders are performing way better than him on defense. So wait, hold on a second. You're telling me that a champion is underperforming when it comes to the defender strength attributes. Well, if that's the case, the champion should surely get buffed, right? Destroyer has landed well, and we will not be making any changes to him. What? I thought we just established the logic of the attribute defender strength and tuning the champions to that. Isn't that the whole point of the rebalance program? Oh no, I guess not. It's just there for Kabam to pick and choose when they want to use it. Apparently. Because Destroyer is not a 4 out of 5 defender. And he's not a very good attacker either. His damage is a 4? So, Kate's damage is a 2.5. And Destroyer's damage is a 4. Round of applause to whoever wrote these champion attributes, man. What? Huh? Like... Oh, I could literally make my own champion attribute. Give me less than a week. I could make better champion attributes for the entirety of the game. A week. Like, I get these are made when the champion first comes out, but maybe they should be updated. Or maybe they shouldn't be one of the main metrics for rebalance. Like, something's not right here, dude. The math is not mathing. I was so disappointed because, like, Destroyer 2 is such a cool champion. He's such a cool concept of a champion. You know, he was great in the first Thor film. He just seemed like pure power. He's like, how do you contend with this guy? So I really had high hopes for him in game, and like I think he has like potential. He just needed a little bit of love in the rebalancing. And what did they do for him? Zippo, nothing, nada. Like, Destroyer should have got something on offense and on defense. And, you know, honestly, the same could be said for Enchantress. Well, Enchantress should have got toned down a tad on defense and buffed on attack. And Destroyer should have just been buffed on defense and on attack. Again, if I was in charge of the rebalance program, that's what would have happened to these champions. They would not have just been left as is. So that's Destroyer at the number 3 spot, man. And we haven't even gotten into the good stuff yet. The top 2 champions, by the way, both made by the same person, who also made Nico. Which, speaking of Nico, I cannot wait to see Nico's rebalancing post. Can't wait to see that. But at the number 2 spot, we have a champion that we've already mentioned, and that is Kate Bishop. For, yeah, some of the reasons we've already mentioned. She has a 2.5 on damage, which is the biggest lie ever. Like, did they even play the champ when they made, like, how do you give Kate a 2.5? Like, you can literally start a fight, get to a special 1, perfect release it, and you immediately have so much damage. Passive cold snap damage. And then you get to another special 1, do it again, and guess what? You more than double your damage. 2 special 1s. That's it. And you can keep them up forever. Forever. How is this a 2.5? Ease of use is a 1.5. Kate is not hard to learn. You can literally slow down time and then perfectly with a special 1. I literally learned it while doing Necropolis. It was not that difficult. Utility 4 out of 5. I can get with that. It's really just the damage here, man. 2.5. The biggest lie out of any attribute in game. That's gotta be this. Like, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. And again, is this champion exist as a 7-star? Nope. Will they ever? Probably not. And the funny thing is that, of course, we had a chance to vote for her to enter the Titan. And we voted for Shang-Chi instead of Kate Bishop, which is wild. But yeah, dude, I've said from the beginning, I think Kate is so OP. Like, her block proficiency is 72.4%. That's higher than, like, Captain America. Like, it's ridiculous. It's higher than Dr. freaking Doom. Like, it doesn't make sense. Where's the comic book accuracy? For one. For two, where's the rebalance programs doing its job, bringing balance to the game? I don't know. Again, but this is one that, like, it's not the biggest deal to me because people would be very upset. That's like another whole element when it comes to the rebalance is community sentiment, community reaction, community's opinion, because that does matter. Kabam doesn't seem to think it does, but in my opinion, the people that play your game and fund your game, I think their opinions matter. I think they're actually pretty important. So, like, Kate Bishop is not the biggest deal for me, but she's at number 2 on this list because, like, because of this. Like, these are the attributes system that we're trusting for rebalance today. Like, Spider-Woman's getting nerfed because of this? Because of this system? Is this really a reliable system? I don't think so. Ever since these attributes came out, I didn't think they were all the most accurate. You know, like, when I would test a champion, I would rate them differently than Kabam's attributes. Sometimes not that differently, but it was never really the same. Alright, but that leads us with one champion. And I'm sure everyone and their mother knows who that one champion is. And that's Spot, dude. Spot was actually the first ever 5 out of 5 defender. And oh, I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. Spot is actually the first 5 out of 5 defender, but of course he's not our number 1 pick. But is that crazy? That Spot was the first ever 5 out of 5 defender? And then a champion like Hulkling is a 3 out of 5 defender? And champion like Destroyer is a 4? And Spider-Woman's a 3.5. Spider-Woman's a 3.5 and Spot's a 5. It's crazy. But anyways, the number 1 champion in the history of Marvel Contest of Champions that should have been rebalanced and was not, Serpent. We all know this to be factual. It's Serpent, 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 and more Serpent. And Serpent. Dude, there's no champion in the game that has more defensive abilities than Serpent. There's literally not one. He has the most. Like, I remember when Serpent, the first talks, his first rebalance post went live and he wasn't getting nerfed, and the entire community was just so up in arms about it, man. And what's really funny to me is, like, some of the people back then that were defending that nerf are now using that and comparing it to Spider-Woman, saying, like, what the hell? Kabam didn't nerf Serpent, but they're nerfing Spider-Woman. When these same people were defending Serpent not being rebalanced. I just find that kind of funny, how some people kind of switch up, you know? But not me. I have always hated Serpent, always will hate Serpent, was dead set on him getting rebalanced. I was probably the most annoying person in the CCP Discord when that whole thing was going on, because I was just being relentless, saying, Kabam, like, nerf him. I even started my own petition to try to overturn Kabam's decision when it came to rebalancing Serpent. And they did not. They stuck to their guns and did not touch Serpent at all. And they proceeded to instead release, like, a bunch of Mystic Champions in a row with, like, not a lot of abilities, not a lot of kit, but specifically counters to Serpent. You know, some of these are Spiral, Isophene. Shothra is more versatile than the other two, I would say. But yeah, man, Isophene, a big one. I was debating putting Isophene on this list. She probably would have been like number 6, because she definitely should have gotten rebalanced. I think Iso mid, bro. So mid. But she can kind of counter Serpent with her Awakened ability, so they shipped it. And, like, that's just what I hate, you know. When a champion is so strong that they require new champions just to counter them. And that can so easily start to get out of hand. And it has. Because we've gotten a super powerful champion in Enchantress that required a hard counter to be built in Spider-Woman. And now that counter to the original problem is being nerfed. Like, do you see what this cycle creates? Kabam, this is what you're doing to yourselves, to your game. Like, it's getting ridiculous. And it's getting really frustrating and tiring and annoying. Like, you cannot sit here and tell me that we as a community, you know, don't know what we're talking about when we absolutely do. Especially when it came to Serpent. Especially now when it's coming to Spider-Woman. So, you know, let's go ahead and pull up Serpent. So these were his champion attributes. So defender strength 5 out of 5. Again, this is a lie. Serpent is not a 5 out of 5 defender. I would say he's a 7 out of 5 defender. I would put 2 little red boxes here to indicate a 7 out of 5 defender strength level. So cause think about that. Kabam's entire argument for Spider-Woman is that she's a 3.5 and she's acting stronger. So let's just say, you know, she could be a 4, a 4.5. Let's just say, for argument's sake, she's a 3.5 acting as a 5 out of 5 defender, okay? Kabam didn't say this. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt here and saying that let's say she maxes out their attribute system as a defender, all right? Let's just say, for fun's sake. So that's 1.5 units above where she's rated, right? So 1.5 units too much of a defender, so that they're toning her down, right? If you follow that same logic with Serpent, and we gave him an accurate rating, I would say 7 is fair. That's 2 full units above the 5 where he's supposed to be. Now, you can totally say, Legacy, you just made that up. You made up those units. And yeah, I did. But that's genuinely where I would place Serpent. That's genuinely the rating I would give him, is a 7 out of 5 defender strength. There has truly not been another champion ever released in this game as crazy as Serpent is as a defender. I would say Enchantress is like the only one that comes close. But, you know, Enchantress, you can fight her with essentially anyone. The same cannot be said for Serpent, you know? In a vanilla matchup, you can use just about anyone for Enchantress, if you know how to fight her and everything. Serpent, no. No. Like, you need answers to his threats. It's difficult to find a champion that has answers to all his threats. Usually, you can only bring a champion that has a counter to a couple of the biggest threats. You just got to pick and choose which threats you can deal with and which threats are going to screw you over. Like, truly, like, there's never, ever been a more overtuned champion in the history of the game than Serpent. Like, the only one that even comes close, that could maybe be it, would be 12.0 Scarlet Witch. The 12.0 Scarlet Witch. That is the only champion that I could truly compare to Serpent being as crazy. And Kabam nerfed Scarlet Witch into the ground. And what did they do to Serpent? They defended him and said, what did they say, man? Well, we expect the Serpent will remain a high-performing defender. We're happy with how his performance as a defender has played out so far and won't be making any changes. They won't do a damn thing to him, bro. But they will nerf Scarlet Witch into the ground, and they'll take Thor, Black Widow, and even Doctor Strange with her. But Serpent? Nah. Do you want to know why the whole rebalance program was made in the first place? Well, I'm not Kabam, so I can't tell you their exact reasoning. But as someone who's an expert on Kabam behavior and on this game, and has been making content for almost a decade, and just been a bystander and a spectator to everything that has unfolded, if you want to know what I think, the whole reason the rebalance program was created was so that they wouldn't have another issue, another champion like Hercules. There was an old Kabam designer named Kabam Broccoli who designed quite a few very powerful champions in game. He no longer works for Kabam, and he made Hercules. You know, our first ever Summoner's Choice champ that was built with so much love and meant to be a strong champion, meant to be a super duper strong champion that we voted for, you know. And Kabam couldn't nerf him. They didn't have the rebalance program in place, so they couldn't just nerf this champion that we all voted for, that the community loves, that everyone loves and adores. They couldn't just do it because they didn't have a reason. They didn't have a justifiable excuse like a rebalance program and an attribute system that they can hide behind. They didn't have that. So what did they do? Well, they created one. You know, just make one. So they created this whole rebalance program and said, all right, whenever a new champion gets released, we're going to have a window. At first they said 3 months. 3 months, we'll evaluate, and if some small changes need to be made, they'll be made. What is it now? Well, now it's like 6 months, and then if changes are made, it's 9 months. And it's crazy. And you know, the kicker out of all of it is what makes Hercules so busted. You know, his damage is good for sure, especially his interaction with the recoils and building up his feats of strength, you know. But the real thing, the most broken thing, is this awakened ability here. This immortality that he can pause. But, you know, what counters this immortality? Well, you know, you don't want to make it too broken. So if you throw a special 3, that'll bypass it, that won't trigger it, that'll just kill Hercules. Boom, special 3. Easy way to counter it, you know. Boom, there you go. So, you know, that's just so powerful. Be immortal, cheating death. Like, we can't allow more champs to have that. You know, that's just too powerful. So then they released Serpent. And they created a whole new thing. Instead of calling it immortality, nah, forget immortality. That's for peasants. Serpent, nah, a real proper god, not a demigod like Hercules. We'll give him death immunity. Yeah, he's just immune to death. This can't be staggered or nullified. And, you know, during this, let's give him a ton of healing and power gain. Oh, yeah, and what if you try to use a special 3 to disable it? No, that's not going to do anything. And, again, that's okay. That's fine. That doesn't warrant getting rebalanced in any shape or form. Nah. Serpent turns off dexterity like Photon does. Plus everything else in his kit. Oh yeah, we don't need to adjust any of that. Nah. Nah. Ship it as is, leave it as is, let them suffer. Serpent, easily the biggest miss ever in the rebalancing program, and I would now say Spider-Woman is number 2. The number 2 biggest misstep ever in the history of the rebalance program. And we're watching it unfold before our very own eyes right now. And it's funny that, you know, everyone is comparing Spider-Woman to Serpent for very good reason. For very good reason, Kabam, because you should have nerfed Serpent. Don't make the same mistake with Spider-Woman. Do not nerf her on attack. Leave her alone on attack. So guys, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for today's video. Top 5 champions that should have absolutely been rebalanced by Kabam. And instead, they did nothing. Not a damn thing. So I just kind of wanted to make this video to really highlight, showcase the hypocrisy of the rebalance program when it comes to the champion attribute system. You know, they can try to use it as a defense mechanism and to shield their arguments for nerfing Spider-Woman, but I would like to think I debunked most of that with this video and the attribute system as a whole. It's just not reliable. It's not trustworthy. So if it's not reliable and trustworthy, why is it being determined? Why is it being used as such a big determining factor for rebalance, which is such a massive thing? Has such a massive impact on the entire game community, YouTube side of things, Kabam side of things, everything. And also, you know, just why not consult the content creator program first? Especially with everything that's been going on this month. Did no one at Kabam really not foresee the PR nightmare of releasing a post like this? And thought, maybe, hey, let's show this to the CCP first. Get their thoughts first. To try to maybe better gauge, or maybe better word this. But what did they do? They didn't tell us a damn thing. Not a damn thing, bro. Nope, nothing. Didn't hear a damn thing. I had to hear it from, you know, other chats and Discords and line chats and stuff saying Spider-Woman nerf, and then I have to go check for myself. Like, what the hell's going on? What did Kabam do now? That's how I find out about things. Not Kabam, you know, giving us a heads up, asking for our opinions on this stuff. Nope, that's not how it happens. So yeah, guys, there's a big old rant. Top 5. Let me know which one you enjoyed the most. Let me know which one you agree with the most. And let me know what champion that should have been on the list but wasn't. What champion did you really want to see get rebalanced? And what would you have changed with them? And it didn't happen. They got it completely ignored by the rebalance program. Let me know. Comment section down below. Drop a like if you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. A lot of you guys might think you're subscribed, but you're actually not. Just take a gander. You never know. You might not be. We're so close to hitting 120,000 subscribers. We'd really love to hit that. But thank you guys so much for all the love and support. Peace.